Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. Today it's my pleasant job to review an excellent book come to us from Globe Law and Business. Globe are legal publishers who publish a lot of legal texts in terms of the business requirements that you have running a legal firm. This book is actually about European takeovers. It's called European Takeovers, what a surprise, and it's a subtitle, The Art of Acquisition. It's in a third edition, it's a hardback, it's a popular book, and it's been written by the consulting editor, I hope I pronounce the name correctly, Alejandro Fernandez de Araoz. Now, I may have pronounced that totally incorrectly, and I apologise in advance. Now, the title, Elizabeth was the lead writer on this book, and she's given it quite a long title for our review. In an uncertain economic environment, this new edition of European Takeovers provides new focus on the complexities confronting practitioners dealing with takeover activities in the European Union. Now, it's a long title, but that sums up what we've got with this quite complex book. It's, as I say, a hardback, very much the style of Globe Law. So on the side you've got the title there. You can see the front page and all the details there. There's the spine, and there at the back there's some blurb on the back, all about the book. Now, it's very much the house style for Globe. So at the back we've got some titles that they've recently written. We've reviewed the last one, Directors' Liability and Indemnification. Very good book that is too. And then there's some information about Globe Law there. And then after that you've got details about the people who've contributed. Now, there are a lot of contributors, and I can't go through them all by name, but there are a large number, and you can see the list there about the authors. Then you get after that to the actual book itself. There's no index, which is unfortunate, but there we go. There is paragraph numbering there. You can see 7.2 for the paragraph, and you can see the page numbers at the bottom. There is, in fact, throughout a little bit of footnoting, not very much, but a little bit. Then we go to the front of the book. Remember, this is the house style for Globe, which is slightly different. You've then got the front page. There we go. Again, you can see the structure there. And then you've got some blurb about the book. Then you've got the table of contents. And for each of the contents, for the various companies in terms of takeover policy and law, you've got the names of the people and where they come from, explaining what the particular subject is about. It covers a large number of countries, ending up with the United Kingdom at the end, and that's written by Matthew Hamilton Foyne from Ellen and A. Overy. Now, the introduction is worth reading. It sets out by the author what this book is about. It doesn't last too long. It's written in Madrid in November 2022, and I'm recording this in January 2023. And then we start over with the impact of ESG on takeovers. Now, you're going to say to me, what is ESG? ESG is environment ESG is environment and social governance. ESG. Now, there's no abbreviations here. There's no index at the back, and there is a short contents at the front. But at least you've got some idea, because there is a certain amount of abbreviation. You can see it here, ESG there. It's, as I say, environmental, social and governance. And again, that is very much part of the way in which some of these abbreviations take place. And you can see again, there is footnoting at the front. And then running into the middle of it, you can see, for instance, that's the commentary on Denmark with the name of the person. So you see you've got quite a lot of information, and you've got a reasonable amount of paragraphing, but there is no index, so which I think is a little bit of a drawback, but that's the house style for this particular publication. So what do we say about it? Well, we say this. Corporate lawyers, particularly those involved in matters relating to mergers and acquisitions, M&As, as well as corporate governance issues in general, will welcome the new third edition of what is now a well-established and authoritative work of reference from the publishers Global Law and Business. I'd like to thank Sian very much indeed, Sian O'Neill, for sending this book over. The intrinsic value of the book lies in its list of learned contributors, all at the back, including lawyers from top law firms, and of course academics from prestigious institutions who individually and collectively provide a truly impressive portfolio of advice and consultancy in a number of what are often complicated areas regarding European takeovers. And all this is contained in one highly readable and accessible volume. Here it is. Not too many pages, so it's relatively easy to read through. Of course, it's not a heavy style in terms of writing either. Now, following the turmoil of COVID-19, the recent publication of this book, as the publishers have succinctly put it, provides, quote, an exhaustive reference source for anyone preparing, participating in and responding to activity, a takeover activity, in the European Union. And there are 17 chapters here, and the book's 27 contributors cover a wide range of relevant issues, commencing with, for example, the introductory article by the consulting editor, Alejandro, I'll just call him Alejandro, on the impact of ESG, environment and social governance, on takeovers. And as the editors remind us, the direct relevance to the United Kingdom on such issues is that, quote, Europe is made up of some of the world's most attractive companies for cross-border activity. I'd like to add so there, you Brexiteers, but I won't. Mentioning as an example that the United Kingdom and Germany are included among the top 5 nations most frequently targeted for investment. European takeovers, therefore, have an important and obvious relevance within the UK's economy, which means inevitably that legal services will be directly involved. That's where Globe come in with the expert portfolio of books that they now have, because they give us a great deal of extra help in some really quite awkward areas of law and of business law itself. So practitioners in this area, in our view, will be especially interested in the accumulated expertise of a number of lawyers and a variety of learned contributors from the major EU and common law jurisdictions, which of course are listed here in the front, in the content section. And it's interesting to note the article on creeping acquisitions in Europe by Luca Enriquez from Oxford University and Matteo Gatti from Rutgers Law School in the United States of America. Then, of course, there's Matthew Hamilton Foyne, I mentioned him earlier, from Allen & Ogilvy, who analyses the key changes that have taken place concerning the evolution and present status of the takeover panel and takeover code, which since 1968 has undergone considerable change, following relatively recent legislation which has enabled it, says the author, to respond rapidly and flexibly to meet the needs of a dynamic market. And make no mistake, that's what we have here. You hear the doom and the gloom and everything else, but we do have a dynamic market in this area. And of course the article which I'm referring to, the one right at the back of the book in fact, ends with a cautionary 11-point list of the key do's and don'ts which need to be considered in the planning and execution of takeovers. And of course the book's subtitle is The Art of Acquisition, just bending over to see it, The Art of Acquisition, which centres fundamentally on informed and competent governance, with frequent references being made to ASG, which they say must become an integral part of the takeover process. And I'm sure it will do because of what happens when you have the takeover. So there is little doubt then that this new third edition of the fully updated text by the consulting editor and the others will provide indispensable material for any lawyer, researcher or academic involved in this complicated area of law. And the date of publication is cited as at the end of November 2022. Quick look at the book again. There's the front. You can see, as I say, standard. Let's just open it up a little bit further. And there's Poland, for instance, being dealt with there. You can see you've got the paragraph numbering there, and you've got a little bit of footnoting. All right, as I mentioned, United Kingdom, we'll go to the United Kingdom at the end. There we go, just to give us a plug. And it looks very much at the evolution and the present status of the takeover panel and the takeover code. And again, notwithstanding what I've said in many of our other reviews, not just with Globe but elsewhere, we are at the beginning in 2023, in my view, at the beginning of an urgent need for a complete radical overhaul of quite a large number of areas where the legislation and the codification and the rules need to be reviewed for present day needs. Because what we've got at the moment are quite a lot of pieces of legislation which have got rather old, and they are in need of revision. I won't say any more because there are lots of examples of this at the moment, because we've just emerged from the pandemic. And we've got to start looking ahead now at the sort of agenda the next government, whatever shape it will be, will start looking at, because there's an urgent need for reform. And with that, a very big thank you to Globe and to everybody involved in this book. And we're very grateful to have reviewed it. Thank you to all. Bye-bye.